Hey, welcome back to Mexicali Fish Keeper. This is part 4 of what's in the tank. This is my, I guess this is, we're getting to the side of the breeding side of my fish room, quote unquote, I guess. And it's also the one that could probably be a little bit more controversial because, for the most part, on this side of the fish room is where I'm going filterless, quote unquote. Basically, it's only biological filtration that is filtering these aquariums back here. Right behind me, you can see that I have a rack with 16 aquariums on there. I think 15 of them are 10 gallons and a 5-gallon aquarium in there. But I'm going to go ahead and walk you through that setup that's there, show you what's in there, what kind of some of the projects that I'm currently working on. And that'll be it. So let's get to it. Let me turn this around so you guys can see it. Okay, so this is the setup here. It's got 4 tiers on here, 4 tanks on each tier, so that's 16 tanks. The only thing is that it's a little bit taller than I can reach the top of it, that I've had to make my own little step stool to be able to get there. But so what I'll probably do is we'll start up at the top and work our way down and kind of show you what's going on in there and some of the things that I'm working on in here in the fish room. So let's get up to the first top. Okay, in here in this one, and I don't know if these guys are going to cooperate, but I've got some Corys that I'm trying to breed. There's some emerald green Corridoras that are in there, and these guys are real skittish. There's only one of them. There's about 8 of them in there, and they're all hiding in between the plants. That's the other thing in this tank. It's a way that I propagate a lot of my trimmings. This one actually, I need to go in there and trim some of these plants you can see in there, and it's also growing a lot of ramhorn snails, but that's just because I feed this tank pretty heavy. I haven't been able to catch them laying eggs, so if they're laying them, I'm not pulling them out in time. So they might be eating them, but that's what I got going in there. I'll see if I can put some food in and get some B-roll of these guys when they're out there. In here, I've had some limias that are in here. I gotta remember which ones these are. They're the black-bellied limias. These are an aquarium strain because I don't have a location for them. But it seems like I have a pair, and hopefully one of these days they'll drop some fry in there. Also, as you can see, it's heavily planted. It's one of these aquariums that I'm also using to propagate some of my stem plants. So, but these are the guys in here. I believe that's the female with the black belly, and the one with the silver striping is the male. So that's what I have in there. Again, lots of ram's horn snails. That's going to be a common occurrence throughout all these aquariums. In here, I have some white clouds. And as you can see, we got a female in here that's pretty big right now. Hopefully she'll be dropping some eggs in there pretty soon. This one, I'm not pulling eggs. I'm trying to create an environment where if they have fry, they have a high probability of survival rate. They do predate on their fry, but I'm trying to make it so that I'm not having to constantly be going in here and pulling out egg traps or anything like that. I haven't had success in this setup. I did it on the 20 long, and I was like 2 or 3 fry that survived, and I was able to grow them out. Again, I was not in a hurry of trying to generate a lot of these guys because I didn't have a place to offload them. But I think now, since I've been doing this for a while, I'm starting to establish some relationships with some stores where I might be able to take these guys to. But these guys are acting real skittish right now. It's funny. It's probably because of the camera. And because of where they're located, they're not used to seeing me. But in here, all I have is hornwort and a little bit of guppy grass, and that's all. I don't have any planted in the substrate plants. It's all pretty much just floating plants. This one back here is a strain of guppies that I bought at the swap. This young lady was trying to sell some guppies that she was raising in there, and nobody was bidding on them, so I got them for $1. I don't know what they are. I think she said they were snake skins, so some of these might have some of the genetics, but it also looks like it has some antler genetics in there. So these guys have just been breeding there, and these will become part of the colony of my mud guppies. Really, that's all it is. But, you know, it's always disappointing when you go to the swap and nobody buys your stuff. So that's what this was. This is one of those purchases. But they're there. Guppies, like I said, seem to be in high demand, especially good quality guppies, because nobody is actually breeding them right now. So in here, I have some lease killifish, which are not killifish, apparently. But that's what I got going on in here. This is a colony that I've had here for a while. Let me see if I can get some of the other fries in there. But that's what we have in here. I have some ram horn snails in here, some shrimp that I've cold, that are pretty much shrimp coals that are in there. You can see some of them swimming by there. Again, what's unique about all of these is the fact that they're not running anything other than just the water in the box and whatever media is in there, and that's pretty much it. In here, I'm having I have a trio of golden 24 karat, or at least that's what they were thought to be, 24 karat guppies. So we'll see. These guys, I guess, really predate on their fry, even though it's pretty heavily planted. I haven't had any fry in here, so I don't know what's going on. Either the male is sterile or he's not mature enough. I don't know what's really going on. But I haven't been able to get any fry from here. I had a pretty successful colony at one point, but I sold some of them, and ever since I sold them, I haven't seen any success in here, so that might have been a mistake. I might have oversold the colony that I had, and now that's all there's pretty much in there. There's not a whole lot, unless there's a bunch of stuff that's hiding in the back that I haven't seen, but I doubt it. In here, I put in some dwarf sage in here that's growing in the bottom. It's been carpeting the bottom of this. Hornwort and guppy grass. Same thing with this one. This one's got an Amazon sword, and pretty much just guppy grass in there. Going back to over here, this is, if you remember my video from the 20-gallon long that I had aquascape and the tote, these are some more of the, I guess they're Japanese blue lyre tail guppies, antlers. I don't know what you want to call them, but it's the third colony that I got, and you can see these guys have been very prolific. These guys really reproduce, and they don't predate on their fry, which is a contrast to these guys apparently. But you know, they're going in there. Only thing in here, I'm trying to grow out a little bit more with that corkscrew valve, and it has just some, you know, floating plants and some hornwort. I was drawing a blank. In here are my lyre tail swordtails. These guys are hiding back here. These guys have dropped fry. As a matter of fact, I was able to get 3 of them out of here and put them in a different grow out tank. It looks like she's getting ready to drop, which I'm gonna have to pay a little bit more attention to when she does that, so that I can try to get out of here as many of these fry as possible. I don't know if I want to put her in her own box, but you can see how her abdomen is starting to block out. They're real skittish. In here again, all I have in here, these are the ones that I got in Mexico too. I picked them up in there from that store tour that I did on there. I just have some crypts in here and a little bit of floating plants, just so that it gives me a little bit easier view in here. But that's all we got in there. I got a few shrimp in here, that I've been kind of culling out of here and trying to keep the color a little bit true. But most of the shrimps that I have are just to have shrimp. They're not really, what would you call it? Like, I'm not trying to work on a line or strain or anything like that. Let me see. Let's go down here. Get the step out of the way. These are the Limia Perensis, I think, Perenciana or something like that. I've got to look at the name to be able to pronounce it correctly. Again, these are aquarium or tank bred. I don't have a location for these guys, but you know, it's kind of cool. These guys are really thriving in here, unlike the black belly Limias. These guys are dropping babies all the time. You know, it's just it's something different. You know, I've mentioned it in the past that it seems to me that the more time you spend in this hobby, the more appreciation you have for some of the wild type looking kind of fish. That explains the least killifish, the set of Limias that I have up there, and these guys. Here's the male. The problem with these guys, they never really, you can't really see their full glory on video for some reason, but they have these iridescent colors that really stand out when you see them in person. In here were some pepper quarries. This is a straggler. I was trying to breed them in here, but I ended up moving them to the 37 gallon, and I need to catch this guy out of here. I've kind of also, there's 2 or 3 of them in here. I sort of left them in there because it kind of helps me keep the aquarium cycled. And, but I don't know what I'm going to do with this aquarium. You can see the dwarf sage has really gone wild on this one. One of the things that's interesting is seeing how the light affects the growth of this plant. The higher access to light, the easier access they have to higher light, the shorter it'll stay. The lower the light, the higher it wants to grow to get up to the surface. This one is like, you know, a lot of plants on the top. I'm constantly having to pull duckweed out of these. I'm trying to replace the duckweed with some of this dwarf water lettuce because that's easy. I think it's easier to manage when it comes to trying to remove it out of there. But that's what's in there. In here are some of my gambusia that I got out of the Colorado River. This tank needs a little bit of attention. You can see that there's some hair algae kind of growing all over the place, go a little bit wild. This is kind of more of a wild tank that I have. One of the females in here is really having a issue with her back. She's all bent, but I don't want to get rid of her. She's not reproducing, so it's not an issue. There is a trio, and you can see them back there. I don't know if you're going to be able to see them. Let me see if I can capture them just right. But they're lurking in the back. There they are. They're starting to come into right there. That's the actual female that I want to breed. There she goes. And the male's back there. He's a little bit smaller. I think these are Aphenias because I think the male has the black bar under the eye with the blue iridescent eye. Again, most people would not look at these guys twice, but I've kind of learned to appreciate the natural beauty out of these guys. What I like about this one is these plants. Why am I having a hard time recalling names? This is Bacopa. And I like it because it's starting to flower over here at the top. Basically, this is the one that I set up to kind of mimic our waterways out here in on the Colorado River in Arizona. And that's typically what you would see up in the banks. It would just be that Bacopa growing like crazy. Right now, it's really overgrown. You're not going to be able to see like the canal bank. I do have other videos where the hornwort hadn't really grown in. And I think it's pretty cool how it's turning purple because of the high, it's in contact to closer to the light. So it's just, I've kind of let it do its own thing. I might have to go back in here though at some point and kind of reset it, not reset it, but pull some of this stuff out and kind of get it back under control. So this is the closest thing that you're going to see to one of our waterways out here, and I'm just kind of letting it do its own thing. It's kind of one of my favorite tanks. I'm not going to lie, even though it doesn't have these spectacularly colored fish. But anyways, in here I have 3 emerald ember tetras. Man, the lighting on here is pretty bad. Just because you can see the entire top is covered except for that. And these guys were in a different tank. I threw them in here. This is the smallest tank too. This is a 5-gallon tank. And I'm just out of curiosity see if they'll, by any chance, reproduce in here. Again, one of the common themes in my breeding projects is I kind of let them do their own thing. If they successfully breed, great. I'll have more of what I want. If not, then once I get serious, I'm going to have to do a proper breeding setup. In here, there's no substrate. It was just nothing but, oh wow, the lighting is horrible. There was nothing in here but lava rock. And that lava rock has been covered up. I don't know if it's going to pick it up in there. No, probably not. And just mown and stuff that's just decomposed at the bottom. And I think at one point I had actually put in some of the coconut fiber from what you use for bedding for reptiles. And that's all there's in there. And once it got to the point where it would hold plants, I started playing around and adding some plants in here. You can see some of that dwarf grass is starting to really take over in here. There's some Luigia back there, what you're seeing back in here, and this thing is just going wild. You can see it, how long it is. I'm not messing with it. This is a tank that I don't, other than doing a water change. Again, all of these do get regular water changes, but that's the only thing I'm doing. I'm kind of letting nature take its course and do its thing. And of course, you know, when the tops get too saturated, I will remove some of the duckweed. But you can see plants growing out of the top. It's just they're doing their own little thing. I'm not really messing with it too much. So let's go back down to the very bottom. In here we have more of those gambusia that are in there. I don't know if you guys are going to be able to see these guys very well. You can see this thing is pretty densely packed with guppy grass. Nothing. I don't have any I don't have any plants in substrate in here. Everything's floating. And honestly, I don't even know how many gambusia I have in there, but it seems like it's more male heavy than anything else. And I've just kind of let it. This has been running for about a year now, on its own. Just do water changes, and that's pretty much it. You know, feed it when feeding comes times to do so. In here is another one. These are some guppies. This was a guppy project that I was working on, but it was just not doing what I wanted to do, so I pulled out almost the entire colony out of here. These are just juveniles, and put them in the community tank. I'm just, at this point, I think what's going to happen, unless I get an established line of guppies, I'm not trying to strain anything out. I'm just trying to reproduce quality fancy guppies, because there seem to be in demand right now, at least in my area, for some of the fish stores. They can't seem to get just regular fancy guppies, not strains or anything like that. So that's what these guys are doing in there. This could eventually become a potential breeding project if I get something else. In here, I have my cherry barbs. I don't know if you're gonna. It's so dark in there. And it's a trio. No. It's a male with 3 females in there. Right now the male is actually up in the front. Usually he's hiding out there in the back somewhere. And let me see if they don't scatter. There they are. And that's all that's in there. Again, that's another project that I'm just trying to see if they'll just breed. There's enough plants in there where I think if they successfully hatch out some of the eggs. Oh, there's okay. Take that back. There's 4 females and a male. I could have sworn I only had 3, but I don't know how many they're in there. Maybe they're already breeding and they're growing out. Because I really don't check these on a regular basis. Other than me doing some water changes, that's about the only thing I do with them. And then in here, these guys all shot to the back. In here is the original colony of the blue star antlers. And that's what I have in here. It's also a propagation tank for plants. It looks really short right now because I did a real heavy trimming for the 37 gallon that I set up. This is probably a better view of this aquarium in here. And this is where I just get plants out of here. And, you know, when I have something that I want to plant, I'll pull stuff out of there. But that's pretty much, oops, let me get the lights. Well, the lights are on a timer, and I guess it's that time of the day. Well, that's pretty much what I have going on in this 10-gallon rack. Like I said, there's 16 tanks on there. They all got little different projects going on. Nothing in a big hurry. It's just, you know, mostly plants is really what I'm really trying to focus on. And if I get some extra fish, that's great. But yeah, now let me turn this around and kind of show you what's left. So that I think I'm going to do the rest of it in part 5 and call it done. So let me turn the camera around. There's still that rack with 20 talls. I have the bowls that are sitting on top of that aquarium. These 2, and that's the newest project, is that 37 gallon there. But I think for the time being, we're going to call it good here. And I'll make that the last part of the video, and we'll go into detail into what's going on with those and some of the things that are going on. But that's pretty much it. I mean, it's not anything super special, but I like it. It keeps me busy. I'm enjoying what I'm doing, and it generates a little bit of money, you know, periodically here or there. But with that being said, I'll see you guys soon. Take care.